Today I'm going to show you how to install an HD antenna on your chimney. I've got a bungalow here and I'm going to put brackets on the chimney, and I'm going to tune the TV and see how many channels we get for an HD signal. So here is a picture of the house the way it is right now. There's the chimney I'm going to be installing the antenna on, and I've got some rather large trees in the backyard. So I'm not sure if that's going to be an issue for the signal, but let's see how it does. And we're going to be putting it right along the side there. That's about a 6-foot high chimney, so we'll see how this goes. So here is my antenna setup. I have got the antenna mounted on the mast and ready to install. I've got the coaxial cable attached in here to the box, looped in through there. I've got it zip tied right to there so that when the wind can't blow this around and possibly chafe the edge of the coaxial cable. I also took some sandpaper and I sanded the inside of this pipe so it's nice and rounded, so there's no edge that can cut that. And then I just fed the coaxial right down through the center pipe out the bottom, so there's no coaxial on the outside flapping around and not zip ties all down the pipe. It's all one piece. So here is the antenna that I bought. Here's the box. It's a Channel Master Ultra antenna. Let's get this out of the reflection here. And there's the model number of the antenna. It's a CM4221HD. I picked this one because the fellow at the tech shop told me that this is the one that's the most popular. So what I did was I was told that that you can take two of these antennas back to back. You can face it one way to get signals from Toronto, face it the other way to get signals towards Buffalo. So I did purchase two of them. So here is the here's what they look like, right? Well, just like the one that's on the mast here, it's the same thing. So I had this in my basement. I had it hooked up directly to the TV, and I was experimenting with where I could put this antenna and get the best signal. And that was in the basement, really a poor signal area, but nonetheless, I thought I'll just manipulate it around and see what works. I stood there and watched my TV as I changed the antenna around to see how good the signal, if it stayed or if it disappeared or not. So what I found was very interesting, and that was, okay, the mounts that they have on here, you can put the mount right here. You can there's different spots that you can put it on. You can put it this way, that way. But what happens is the antenna is always going to be a vertical type way, or sorry, horizontal or vertical. And there's no provision for you to actually put the antenna this way, like the old antennas were on tops of masts on roofs. So what I decided to do was I took the bracket, and I wanted to fit it on this way to enable me to put the pipe straight up and down that way. So all it took was for me to grind out a small portion on each side of this bracket here, and I'll show you right here, right there. I've got a little bit of jelly on there, silicone gel, so that it won't rust and drip on the roof. But I just took a little portion out, and I was able to slide the bracket in that way in order to, so now when I stand this up, of course, it's going to be in this type of a setup. So I'm just ready to install this on the roof and hook it up, and then we'll see what type of a signal we get. So here's the chimney brackets I'm going to use. This fits, this is where the flat part of the chimney will fit, right like that. And then of course these the mast will just slide over that U-bolt, slide up there like that, And I'm assuming I'm going to make these about, probably about 3 to 4 feet apart on the chimney, and get as much height as I can on the aerial to see what kind of picture I get. So my chimney here is about 5.5 feet tall, and I've just installed the one bracket. I measured in, it's about 1.5 feet wide, the chimney, so I measured in here about 4 inches. It's slightly off center, but that's not a problem. And I'll measure down about 3 feet, 3.5 feet, and I'll go in 4 inches again, and I'll put the next bracket on. And of course there's the U-bolt that will be sliding the mast through and tightening it up. And we'll be able to come up here and loosen off these the bolts here, so that we can rotate the mast ever so slightly if we want to make a fine-tuning adjustment on the signal that we do get. Okay, so before I do this bottom bracket, I'm going to put a level on the chimney to make sure you've got the bracket perfectly straight up and down with the other one, so it doesn't look off from the road and look crooked. And we're using Tapcon screws to insert it right into the chimney. Okay, both brackets are installed. It's time for the antenna. Okay, there we go. Now I'll just tighten those brackets down, and I'll go downstairs and hook up the cable, and we'll see what kind of channels we get. One thing I did want to mention during this project is all of the connections that I made on the antenna itself, any of the nuts and bolts I used a sealant lubricant, and this stuff here, it's called Cool Lube. It says it's 100% silicone brake system lubricant. It's used in the automotive industry quite a bit when mechanics are doing brake jobs, and it's just like a clear paste silicone, but it's very waterproof and it seals connections very well. So I've used this on the nuts and bolts and all of the coaxial connections, so that if water does penetrate in there, it doesn't rot things out, and then we lose a signal. We have to go back up and disconnect just to clean up a dirty terminal or connection. I'm going to show you a tip now on how to attach the coaxial cable to the house, and it's very easy and very cheap. You don't have to buy anything. As long as you got some screws and a bit of wood, you're good to go. So what you're going to do first is the same drill that you were drilling out tap cons on the chimney to put your tap cons in, just use that drill. Any size carbide chip drill will do, really, just as long as it's, you know, half decent at least. It doesn't have to be huge, it just has to be a regular size. And I've already drilled a hole right here in the mortar. So just take your drill and drill a hole about an inch deep into the mortar between the bricks. Next thing you want to do is get yourself a piece of 2x4. It doesn't have to be 2x4, it can be a piece of pine, it can be anything. Take a chisel, put it along the edge. Get yourself a, that didn't work out too well. I'll do it on this side. And that didn't work out too well either. Get yourself a piece like that. I've already cut myself a piece. And just take that piece, put it up to the hole, and drive it into the hole. Once it gets in, then you can hammer. And now you've got a little piece of wood in the hole that's packed in there that you can insert a screw into. Next thing what you want to do is at Home Depot, they've got these neat little tie straps, and they've got a little hole in the end that you can put a screw through. So you can zip tie the cable into it, and then you can just put a screw through there to hold the cable. So I've already put one on the cable right here, and I've just got some deck screws. I think they're 1 1/4 inch deck screws. They'll be just fine. If I could just find my screwdriver. There we go, right there. And we'll just take that. And just direct it into the center of the wood, and it'll just go in nice and tight. And snug her down. This way you're not having to go to Home Depot and there's little plastic inserts, but then you have to have the specific size drill. You have to drill the hole so deep, then you have to put those things in. They don't always work. This is a surefire method to always be able to tie something to the mortar. Okay, so we've got our antenna installed in the pancake configuration with it right flat, just like the old school antennas used to be mounted, to try that to see what kind of reception that we do get. So we've done that, and we've set the TV up, and we've gotten some channels. So we are now going to try a different configuration to see what we get with it. So what we've done is we've taken the antennas and we've mounted them to the mast, 2 of them, and we have one pointing towards Toronto and the other one is pointing towards Buffalo. We've gone on the internet on a particular site, and we found the angle to put them at, and we've set them up that way. And so here's what it looks like. There's the setup right there. You can see that one of them is this way, and one is slightly angled different towards Buffalo. So we're going to give that a try and see what we get with that. So here we are at the website I was telling you about that shows you how to direct your antenna. The website is called xtech.ca /HDTV pointer, and you can put your address in here and it will show you where the TV towers are and how you should point them. So let's I'm going to put my address in here, and we'll pull this up. And there's our address right there, showing our house. Now it is showing us where the antennas are in Toronto. Let's go out a bit here. You can see it's showing our house right across Toronto and over towards Buffalo, and all the radio stations down there, which I'm not sure if it would go that far, but we might pick up something that way. So anyways, this is what I did with ours, is I got myself this carpenter's tool, and all it is it's got a wing nut on here, and you can undo it and you can adjust it for different drawing lines on wood and stuff. So all I did was I took this and I took the angle of this guy. Gotta get this right here so I can tighten the wing nut. So I tightened that up first, and then I just took this and I fine honed in on the actual angle of the signals. So I got that pretty well perfect right there. And now the configuration that we have right now of the two antennas, one above the other and slightly angled, I just use this to put between the two to get my angles. That one is slightly tilted and the other one is this way. If I had it on the ground I could show you better, but once you have the two antennas in front of you and you use this, you'll see what I mean. You can angle them so that when I have the one pointing towards Toronto, the other one will directly be pointing towards the other towers. So that's the site. Give that a go. It's a great resource for setting up any HD antenna. Okay, so what I want to talk to you about is how we set the antenna up after we had it installed. So what we did was this. Got two walkie-talkies. I went up on the roof with a clipboard, and I got my wife downstairs in the basement with the TV, and I'd radio to her. I'd set the antenna to a position, which was, I marked the bottom of the pole 45 degrees, so there was 8 marks all the way around the pole, and I had it at one position. I radioed to my wife to go through the setup, and then she'd call up to me and tell me the stations that we got. Rotated at 45 degrees, went through the same setup. Each time it took about 30 seconds to do the setup, and then we'd have a list of all the channels. So we did that with the pancake design on top of the antenna, and we did it with the two antennas, one on top of the other, slightly angled, and the results are in. We found out that our pancake design, the one on top of the tower, we were only able to receive 15 channels from Toronto and from Buffalo. But the good news is the next design, the two antennas, one on top of the other, we were able to get 25 channels, which was fantastic after we got that set up. And like I say, on both of them, we rotated it around 45 degrees each time and checked it on both that way, and that was the best setting. One was pointing north, one was pointing towards Buffalo, and 25 channels. So fantastic, and it worked out great. And I'll give you an example now of I'll show you the pictures that we do get on the TV, and they're fantastic. Through the air HD TV. So here is the results of our antenna installation, and here the proof is in the picture, and here it is right here. I'll go through them all so you can see. That's channel 2 right there. Sorry, channel 2-1, 22. Fantastic picture on CBC.
Call you up proper and I'll ask you out there. Quick to take advantage.
Yeah. So that's good down there.
I'll never build what I want to get.
All the ones that are HD are absolutely fantastic.
Marge and I will never grow old together. The security, good luck.
And 57, that's the last one. So there you go. Hope that helps with your HD antenna installation, and good luck.